Hi, and thank you for your interest in ContentKeeper technologies. Today's session is going to go through and introduce you to ContentKeeper. We'll also look at the web security requirements in 2012, take a look at the ContentKeeper product suite, and review some of the key technology pieces of ContentKeeper in this session. So first of all, ContentKeeper was founded in 1999, corporate headquarters in Australia, and has over 1,000 global customers and more than 4 million users worldwide. The key solutions around web productivity and security solutions with extensive reporting capabilities, and lately certainly a move into the proactive malware detection market, and we'll certainly talk about that as part of this session. In terms of market recognition, we've been a part of the Gartner Secure Web Gateway Magic Quadrant since 2008. ContentKeeper basically provides solutions and management tools that allow you to monitor internet usage, manage staff when they're accessing the actual internet, control exactly what they're actually accessing, and secure them from any malicious internet-based threats. ContentKeeper is the first in a new generation of collaborative-based internet security gateway systems. ContentKeeper has a worldwide presence. You can see here the ContentKeeper offices, as well as any ContentKeeper representatives as they're based throughout the world. In terms of customers, these are also spotted over the globe. This is actually a screenshot from the ContentKeeper data center, which keeps track of all the ContentKeeper appliances out in the field. We have very large market shares in Australia, in government, and also South Africa, with major government installations in the UK, USA, Thailand, and Mexico. And our key verticals are government, education, banking, military finance, retail, manufacturing, and healthcare. Here's a quick snapshot of some of our customers that we have. So here you can see in terms of government customers, a lot of federal as well as state-based organisations in Australia, as well as South Africa and Thailand. Then you can see the enterprise customers, selection of these from around the world. Very heavy in education, as you can see, and then a smattering of customers in banking and other verticals. In terms of the actual ContentKeeper technology, we are a transparent Ethernet bridge, so we're a physical Ethernet bridge that is installed into your network. This makes us very fast with high bandwidth throughput capabilities. We can design solutions to be extremely fault tolerant as well as highly available. The solution itself is highly secure because we're an Ethernet bridge. The only IP address the solution has is for the management report. We have a secure UI, web-based UI management application. And this solution allows you to provide total control and security over all internet activity coming into and out from your organization. In terms of ContentKeeper technology, here's a smattering of different technology pieces that were released over the different years. We were the first to market with a closed-loop collaborative filtering technology. We also, over the years, have released different deployment capabilities, cloud-based systems, ISP scenarios, next-generation graphical interfaces, and lately certainly been pioneering again with our bridge mode SSL inspection and our advanced proactive malware technologies. In terms of scalability, this screenshot sort of says it all. This is actually a state in Australia, so all the education department runs through this implementation. So we've actually got 550,000 endpoints running through this that are sustained 6.3 gig across 8 appliances. You'll count 9 in the photo here, that's N plus 1. So we've got one hot standby, but this basically equals out to about 60,000 endpoints being filtered per appliance. So in terms of scalability, certainly scales, no problems at all. So let's look at the web security requirements in 2012. Overall, we see different types of requirements from different types of users, different types of customers. So every customer has different motivations, requirements, different threat profile. So the 4 different areas of web customer requirements are going to be different for every customer. Whether it's high-end web productivity, DLP and content controls, web malware, or user reach, every customer has different set of requirements, and so the dot in the middle there is certainly going to be changing its location based on the actual mix of requirements that different customers have. So let's walk through each one of these 4 areas. First of all, web productivity. This was the original issue of the internet, and it's certainly not gone away. This is why URL filtering technologies were invented in the first place, making sure that your users within your organization are only accessing acceptable websites and providing that safe workplace so other employees aren't able to, sort of shoulder surf what other employees might be accessing. Coupled with that base URL filtering technology is also time of day filtering, user quota management, making sure that providing the ability for users to have maybe 1 hour of access to internet shopping per week, for example. That's a user quota. And then also providing access to Web 2.0 applications and social media websites on a granular basis. These all should be regarded as a minimum requirement for today's web filtering solutions. Other advanced features, SSL scanning, not only looking at the actual certificate itself and making a categorization decision based on that, typically called web filtering or SSL filtering, but also once that SSL session is up and running, actually scanning the HTTPS traffic to see exactly what's happening within that session, and that's quite a specialized piece of capability. All these pieces should be regarded as, I said, of the minimum base feature requirements for any web filtering solution today. Moving on to the actual web malware. So if you're looking at the web threat today, the vast majority of the malware attacks inside organizations come from web use. So that's no great surprise. But the attacks themselves are a lot more dynamic, with over 50% of all the attacks dead in less than 24 hours. So the attacks themselves are moving from website to website, and with websites only being infected for hours at a time, it's very difficult for a URL filtering list type of security capability to really be effective anymore today. So those security categories within URL filtering lists are really doing a very minimal job now when it comes to detecting malicious websites. The attacks themselves are a lot more targeted, so your security vendor may not even see that attack or see the types of malware being used on that attack, and so far are not able to protect you against that attack coming in against your organization. The other problem with these targeted attacks is typically that's where the more serious attacks are actually occurring. Another big issue here is the vast majority of the infected websites are legitimate websites. So the legitimate websites are websites that have a good reputation, so IP reputation also has minimal effectiveness today in terms of security control, but it also means that these are the websites that your users are typically allowed to access as part of their normal web filtering policies. And the result of that is a very high percentage of organizations getting hit by web attacks. Here's a slide from Gartner, and I certainly thank Gartner for this slide, talking about how the malware defense spectrum operates in secure web gateways. So in terms of capability on your web gateway, in terms of a low types of requirements, that's around signature-based detection, no frills as they call it, and you can see that on the left-hand side. And what they're basically saying here is customers need to evolve from simple URL filtering. Now, in terms of evolution, that's going to very much depend on what you consider your threat landscape as being, and your threat profile and how serious an attack might be to your organization. For organizations that are very sensitive to these sorts of attacks, then certainly they need to be moving to the high side of the scale. For organizations that aren't as sensitive, then certainly the low to medium. But certainly all organizations should be looking at moving eventually to the right hand side. So the low side here is all about third-party malware engines. For example, ContentKeeper has Kaspersky and Bitdefender running inside their product. So very much malware engines detecting all known malware. On the medium side here, this is coming into reputation feeds and other types of capabilities, cloud assist, real-time detection. So this is starting to bring in some proactive malware capabilities. The cloud assist real-time detection, for example, is a good way of describing ContentKeeper's cloud sandboxing capabilities. And this is where you are providing some more proactive capabilities into your web gateway. Then the high side here, this is inline, active code analysis, sandboxing, vulnerability detection, all those sorts of capabilities are on the high side of this graph, and that's for organizations that are very threat sensitive. So have a think about where you are in this actual timeline and how quickly you need to be moving to the right hand side. Now let's have a look at where threats are going in the future. So at the moment, the bulk of the threats are actually through HTTP traffic or HTTPS traffic, and web traffic in general. But overall, this web traffic, HTTP, HTTPS, for example, is actually decreasing as a share on the actual internet. The product of choice today to secure your web gateways is known as secure web gateways. But these secure web gateways need to evolve to become secure internet gateways. Because as security vendors like ourselves start to bring better security controls across their web traffic, the attackers will evolve as they have evolved every other time. And the place that they're going to evolve to next will be the native application traffic running on the internet. And that's where the secure web gateway solutions of today need to become secure internet gateways of tomorrow, covering all protocols and all applications. Now, ContentKeeper is in a fantastic position here because we're a layer 2 Ethernet bridge. We already have access to and are able to scan all internet traffic. And as a side note, ContentKeeper is already scanning all internet traffic with its streaming malware defense engines, looking for any known malware, as well as its DLP engines. So let's move now on to DLP and content controls. So there's a couple of types of DLP capabilities or technologies in use in the marketplace. Enterprise DLP, which is solutions like Vontu and solutions like that, which bring a whole host of DLP types of capability to an organization. But for many organizations, that's certainly an overkill. Most organizations need to be looking at channel-based DLP, a content-aware channel-based DLP scenario, as recommended by analysts like Gartner, for example. And this is where you're doing file type identification, you're unpacking files, and you're able to match content in that traffic being uploaded to or downloaded from the internet against different dictionaries. You can also do acceptable use policy enforcement here, so making sure that users aren't using inappropriate language in their web use. And also in the future, you'll be looking for enterprise DLP support. So if you are running an enterprise DLP solution, perhaps using your web gateway to be able to help the enterprise DLP solutions by scanning that web traffic. In terms of user reach, you need to be able to support all employees, no matter where they are or what they're actually using. So a different couple of scenarios here. First of all, in terms of clients, this is where we have a client sitting on a device, so we're able to secure that device when it's away from the corporate network. And certainly ContentKeeper has clients for Windows, iOS, and Android devices. But also BYOD, so when employees are bringing their own devices and connect them to your organization's wireless network, making sure you can recognize those users and enforce the correct web filtering policies against those users is also very important. So these are the two scenarios that we briefly talked about in the last slide. So bring your own device, BYOD, so that's when the employees are bringing their own personal devices onto your organization's network. And then you have the remote client. Now these are two very different scenarios. Very important to make sure you understand which one or which problem you're trying to solve here. Remote clients being where typically you need to secure a device when it's being used by an employee or away from your corporate network. So let's now turn our attention to the ContentKeeper product suite. Here are the different models of ContentKeeper appliances that are currently being used. So either you can have a different selection of physical appliances in different form factors, or you can run the virtual appliance supported by ContentKeeper. In terms of technology, as talked about before, we are a transparent Ethernet bridge type of architecture. This enables us to scale significantly better than proxy-based solutions. It's a very easy solution to actually install. You don't need to worry about packed files or proxy settings or anything like that. Because we're a layer 2 Ethernet bridge, we are truly inline, scanning all that internet activity. Very high speed with very high bandwidth. We talked about that when I showed you the scalability slide earlier. As well as this solution can be designed to be extremely fault tolerant and highly available. So we do have hardware relays within the actual appliance, so that if something happens to the appliance, you can fail closed or fail open depending on what you want. And you can also scale this to be, active-passive type scenarios, or active-active and scaling out to, suit the largest implementations. One of the main technologies that ContentKeeper was actually built on, starting back in 1999, was closed-loop collaborative filtering. So the whole idea of closed-loop collaborative filtering is basically where a customer detects a new website somewhere on the internet, no matter where they are in the world. They either do a local or cloud-based dynamic categorization to work out the correct categorization of that website. That information is sent back to the actual ContentKeeper data center, correlated, processed, and then sent back out to all the other customers around the world as part of their hourly updates. So we have, those 1,000 customers with 4 million users are all participating in this closed-loop collaborative filtering system, and you're getting updates on an hourly basis with all the new websites discovered, out there, no matter where the customers are in the world. Those hourly updates are also doing new types or any recategorization, as well as they're playing a very important part now with the new proactive malware engines, as we'll talk about in a second. In terms of web productivity capability, to answer some of the controls that ContentKeeper has in this area. So the filtering list has 32 categories. You can do dynamic categorization on box or cloud-based, and the block pages are all customizable. You can have coaching pages like a warn and allow type page, and you can also have a administrator override blocking page if you like. In terms of the Web 2.0 granular controls or the social media granular controls, these are the screenshots you can see on the right hand side. So that first screenshot, you can see where you're enabling or disabling the actual controls for a particular social media website. The second tick box allows me to make that site read-only, so a single tick box to make it read-only. And then if I click on Facebook, for example, that's where I see the second screenshot, and these are the granular controls that we have for Facebook as an example. So if you wanted to allow Facebook chat and messaging, but block Farmville and block other Facebook applications, perhaps block the ability to upload pictures and videos, perhaps allow users to actually update their status. Whatever combination of controls that you actually want to deploy, you can actually have here for Facebook. If there's any controls that we don't support within the product, then you can actually enter those in that bottom custom box and provide that custom control of those controls. Another point to make here is these controls are actually also part of the hourly update process. So if there's a new control required or a new feature released in Facebook that we create a control for, we can actually extend these as part of the hourly update process. Makes it very quick to go through and extend this capability. We also have time of day filtering, so if you wanted to allow access to internet shopping websites, for example, before and after work hours, then you're able to do that. And we also have user browsing quotas or personal surfing units. And this is where, for example, you could allow 1 hour of internet shopping access per week. They can access it whatever time they like, but they only have up to 1 hour per week. So you can do an hourly type base or a byte based policy. Another big feature in the product now is full SSL decoding, even when running in bridge mode. So those SSL sessions running on your network, SSL is probably one of your fastest growing traffic types on your actual network, and certainly in the mix of your internet traffic. We're able to scan inside those SSL sessions and bringing the full weight of all the policy controls we have in ContentKeeper to that SSL traffic. In terms of web malware, so shifting our focus over to the web malware side. First of all, the reactive engines. So this is our streaming malware defense engine or SMD engine. This scans either HTTP only or all protocols, as you can see on the screenshot on the right hand side there. And we have signatures from Kaspersky, Bitdefender, and also ContentKeeper Labs, all combined together as part of the actual SMD engine. We're also able to run as a proxy-based AV scanner if you do want to do that, and that's where we support the Kaspersky signatures only. Typically, customers be running it in the streaming mode when the actual solution is running as an Ethernet bridge. In terms of the proactive engine, we actually have two proactive web malware engines. The first one is the BAE or Behavioral Analysis Engine. This is basically the analysis engine. It runs on the actual ContentKeeper appliance and it scans all JavaScript. So we're able to look for JavaScript, raw JavaScript on an actual web page, or if there's JavaScript embedded within a PDF file, for example, we'll actually unpack that and find that JavaScript content. We actually analyze it within the behavioral analysis engine, looking for any malicious activity that JavaScript is trying to do. If we do find instances of malicious activity, we'll actually relate that back to the actual known vulnerability, which is the CVE numbers you can see in the screenshot there. So that's basically matching malicious content to the CVE database, so known vulnerabilities. And we provide click-throughs so you can see the actual known vulnerability and see all the details behind that vulnerability. Or, as you can see in the bottom of that screenshot, If we don't match an actual CVE known vulnerability, then this is probably a new vulnerability that is trying to be used, and will provide you information on exactly what that vulnerability is trying to do. Again, this also integrates with a closed-loop code filtering system, so if we find any new instances of malicious JavaScript, we'll take a SHA-1 hash of that JavaScript, share that with all our customers, and then other customers can also be blocking that newly found malicious JavaScript content. So the BAE engine, the behavioral analysis engine, is running on the actual appliance, scanning any JavaScript found within web traffic being accessed by your users. The second proactive engine is the Cloud Sandboxing Engine, or CSB for short. This is also full, basically cloud-based sandboxing. So this is actually hosted by ContentKeeper, runs up in the cloud. We take any other files that a user might be trying to access or download. If it's a suspicious file type, we'll upload it to the ContentKeeper cloud. We drop it into a Windows sandbox and do a full analysis of that actual example. Here we were able to provide you back a detailed report. You can see some quick information here about this, about a particular example here. We also take the SHA hashes of these samples and integrate them in with the closed-loop code filtering. Now, the cloud-based sandboxing by default runs in the cloud. It's all hosted by ContentKeeper. Now, if you are a customer that does not want to be sharing any files, maybe you're a very highly security conscious organization, then you do have an option to run a dedicated on-premise appliance to be your cloud sandbox for you. Some of the different tools we have across both the behavioral analysis engine and the cloud sandboxing engine. First of all, we have these new testing and evaluation tools. So within the actual ContentKeeper user interface, this is all included with ContentKeeper. You're able to, if you've got the CSB or the BAE engines turned on, then you're able to drag and drop files into this actual box. So this is the ContentKeeper user interface, or the administrator console. If you had a file on a local USB stick or an email attachment, or maybe a URL embedded inside an email that you weren't sure about, drag and drop them or cut and paste them into the actual ContentKeeper user interface, and we'll actually analyze them with the proactive malware engines, providing you back that full analysis report on each one of those samples. Very useful tool. It's just like having your own, forensics malware analysis capability in-house. We also have the threat isolation table. So if a workstation is found to have a particularly serious piece of malware on it, by basically detecting it with the BAE or CSB engines, then we automatically add that workstation to the threat isolation table, which blocks all internet traffic to or from that actual workstation. We also provide administrator alerts, so you can go through and find out exactly which workstations are infected with what, and then you can go and remediate those and then take them off the threat isolation table for normal use. Now, the good thing about the threat isolation table is it's completely automatic. So we'll actually find the initial infection file, and once that initial infection file is detected as being malicious, then we add the workstation to the threat isolation table, which prevents and stops any future activity as part of the infection cycle from the attacker. So very good at blocking any bots that might be installed, or Trojans or anything like that. Certainly a very valuable piece of capability in the actual products. In terms of DLP and content controls, you can see some screenshots here. We're able to define policies based on single words, regular expressions. We're also able to define different phrases. We're also able to define file names and paths. Perhaps there's a UNC path name that you want to define, that if any content from that UNC path name is trying to be sent outside an organization, then block it. Also able to set policy on IP addresses and domains, very useful for SharePoint, for example, to also further set policies for your DLP capability. In terms of the single words, regular expressions, and the phrases, we actually analyze clear text. We unpack PDF, Excel, PowerPoint, and Word files. If it's a zip file, we recursively unzip that zip file, looking for all that protected content. And we have the ability to block or report, or block and report those instances happening. And there is a DLP testing tool that you can use to make sure that your new DLP policies are going to be effective with your traffic you're trying to detect. In terms of user reach, this is increasingly a very important area for many organizations. So first of all, this is the on-premise solution. So this is for BYOD. So first of all, we have very flexible user identification authentication options. You can see a big long list of them there. There's actually about 43 different combinations you can actually define within ContentKeeper to do your username enumeration, which is basically how we recognize the user behind each user session. Now for actual BYOD or bring your own device support, this is actually built into the product. You don't need to purchase anything extra. But how this basically works is if we're not able to identify the user behind a new session using any of the normal username enumeration methods, then we can fail back to workstation authentication. And workstation authentication, on the right hand side there, you can see a window is brought up to the actual user. We ask them to authenticate. If they're able to authenticate, then we obviously then know the user and we can assign the correct web policy to that user. If they're not able to authenticate, then we can treat them as an unauthenticated user. Now you have different settings here. For example, you can authenticate the username and password against an LDAP connection if you like, or against just local users and groups that you set up on the ContentKeeper appliance. The authentication period can be basically how long you trust this user is using this device. So if you're a school, for example, and you had a trolley of iPads that you're wheeling around from room to room for each hourly period, then you'd actually set your authentication period to be 1 hour, and then when that 60 minutes is up, then the users will be prompted to re-authenticate again. So that's BYOD, bring your own device support, fully supported within the ContentKeeper solution. In terms of the user reach off-premise, so this is where users need to be, their web activity needs to be controlled and managed, even when they're accessing the internet from away from your corporate network. So we have CKT Express for that, and we have clients for Windows, iOS, and Android. And you can see screenshots here from the iPad client. And this is where we're able to fully enforce all the web activity that the user might be doing on that device, covering all network connections. And it's really ideal for those remote users or one-to-one programs. ContentKeeper Express is 100% cloud-based, and we've got more information about ContentKeeper Express a little later in this session. In terms of reporting, ContentKeeper Advanced Reporting Module. So you have on-box reports within the actual ContentKeeper appliance, which are great for drilling through the dashboard and seeing the activity of a user or a group of users. If you need more advanced reports, then the Advanced Reporting Module is where you can define all your canned reports to be sent out on a regular basis. You can also do deep granular drill down into different types of reports. For example, you can basically drill down all the way to see what individual keywords a particular user has been using as part of their browsing session. Perhaps the keywords they've been typing into search engines and things like that to prove malicious intent. So the Advanced Reporting Module is a Windows-based application, takes the syslog feed out of the ContentKeeper appliance, runs an analysis against it, and then produces all the reports you could ever want. Another product we have in the ContentKeeper suite of products is ContentKeeper Cache. Now you can run this as a dedicated appliance, which is obviously highly scalable to support the largest type of organizations, or you can actually integrate as part of the normal ContentKeeper solution. So the ContentKeeper Cache is basically highly effective. It's been designed to be extremely fast. It's a very simple user interface with very powerful capabilities. Here's an overshot of ContentKeeper Express. ContentKeeper Express is how we support all those remote users, or you might choose to run your entire environment within ContentKeeper Express if you like. So we have Active Directory integration in with ContentKeeper Express. It's fully cloud-based, all hosted by ContentKeeper, and we have clients for Windows, iOS, and Android. So we're able to go through and support those sorts of workstations, and you're able to integrate it in with your local ContentKeeper appliance in terms of sending the reporting information back into your reporting console, etc. So in summary, ContentKeeper is able to deliver a solid proven capability in all areas of customer requirements. So in terms of these customer requirements, whether it be web productivity, web malware, DLP and content controls, or user reach, we're able to deliver a very solid, extensive list of capability in all of these areas. Every customer is different, so have a think about where you are or where your customers are in terms of these requirements. Odds on is that ContentKeepers can be providing the right functionality at the right price to meet those requirements. So with that, I'd like to thank you so much for your time, and I certainly invite any follow-up questions or any inquiries you might have to info@contentkeeper.com or simply visit our website. Thank you.